Hello, this is Oscar Cueva, and today we are going to learn about two important methods that we have in English. So this is for teaching a foreign language, right? It's not only for English. We have prepared this for as an on-site class, but unfortunately we were not able to deliver the class yesterday. So today will be we'll have this class for you guys. So hope you enjoy and learn something new. As you have here, we have our agenda. So it is our warm up. So it's tell me what you see. We have the audio-lingual method, the Suggestopedia method as well, and we had the wrap up. All right, let's move on. And this, I have prepared this for you guys. One sec. And okay, so I had these for you, like you will see an image and you will tell me what you see in there. You might see the face of an old man. Some others will see two persons talking, and one of them is reading a book or something like that, and you will see trees and many other things. Okay, let's move to the introduction of the class. Yes, so it says that linguists have demonstrated that there's not like one single best method for us or for students or for everyone in all contexts, and that there is no teaching method that you inherit, right? Or that is superior one to the other. This is not possible, or it is not appropriate to say this, right? So to apply the same methodology to all learners will have different objectives, environment, and learning needs. So we'll need to take into account what is best for our students. As we all keep learning in the teaching field, we will decide on the most suitable techniques and apply the most appropriate methodology for the learner's specific objectives. It all depends on what our students' needs are, what they want to learn, and we need to take into consideration their learning style and the context. All right, we have some modern teaching, and the modern teaching and methods of teaching English have developed like so fast, especially in the previous 40 years. As future teachers, it is important to understand the various methods and techniques so that you are able to navigate the market, make educated choices for your learners, and boost the enjoyment of learning a foreign language or a new language. The audio-lingual teaching method basically came up in that time when the World War II was going on, and this is called the Army method as well, right? Uh, it was the first to be based on a linguistic theory and behavioral psychology. So as it says here, armies needed to become orderly proficient in the languages of their allies and enemies as quickly as possible, right? Because think about this, the World War II was not only the US against one single country. There were emerged very like a lot of countries. So remember that they have their own language. So maybe Americans need to communicate with their allies And so they have to learn some things, and the audio-lingual method was used in this time, and it was proved that it worked. Let's see the next slide. I apologize for any inconvenience in here because my computer is acting weird. All right. Just one sec, guys. We'll see this. Okay. So the audio-lingual method, it is an approach that is emphasized on the vocabulary and train of grammatical sentence patterns based on the context and with no error at all. So that's what I was telling you guys, that this is called the Army method. Why? Because during the Second World War, let me give you like an example of this. And it's basically that the United States wanted to bring an important message to their, let's say, enemy, that it was Japan. So they learned some patterns, right? Like grammatical sentence patterns. And they started like repeating and repeating and repeating that sentence pattern. So that at the end, remember that if the more we practice, the more we learn, and the more we mention something, it gets stuck in our head. So the soldiers were the mean of transportation, right? To bring the message. They were the mean to bring the message to the enemies or the allies. It was believed that much practice of the dialogues will develop oral language proficiency or based on the ability or the qualification of the speaking of the foreign language. Larson Freeman provided expanded descriptions of some common or typical techniques closely related or closely associated with the audio-lingual method. And we have some drills here. We have the dialogue memorization, which is the students memorize an opening dialogue using mimicry and apply role playing. Right? I think we have used this before. Remember when we were learning English on those basics courses at school, that we used to memorize the dialogues, and then we went to the front of the class and then say those dialogues. Yeah, so that's dialogue memorization. So we have the backward buildup, or this is called as well the expansion drill. The teacher breaks a line into several parts. A student repeat each part starting at the end of the sentence and expanding backward through the sentence and adding part of the speech or adding parts in sequence. For instance, let's say park. The, to, going, I. And then you have that I am going to the park. That is the expansion drill, right? So we have number 3, that is the repetition drill. And the students repeat the teacher's model as quickly as accurately as possible. This is a drill that I believe most of us believe is it's really boring because we're repeating the same over and over again. And it gets like pretty much boring. But it helps to like retain some information in, as I said before, it gets stuck in your head and then it's kind of hard to, you know, to forget. Number 4 is the chain drill. The students ask and answer each to one by one in a circular chain round in the classroom. Next, we have a single slot substitution drill. In this case, the teacher states a line from the dialogue and then uses a word or phrase as a cue that as students, when repeating the line, must substitute into the sentence in the correct place. Yep, we have used this before as well, and it's not something that is new for you guys. Then we have number 6, the multiple slot substitution drill. The same as a single slot drill, except that there are multiple cues to be substituted in one sentence or in one line. This one is kind of the ones that I like the most. That is a transformation drill. The teacher provides a sentence that must be turned into something else. For example, a question to be turned into a statement, and or an active sentence to be turned into a negative statement. But this is like when you are working with a group of students that they have pretty good knowledge of the language. So you say maybe I am going to the park. So then your students can say the negative statement of that. I am not going to the park. Or they can use a question. Am I going to the park? And so on. We have question in answer drill. So students should answer or ask questions very quickly. And then, of course, we answer those questions, right? We use the minimal pair analysis. Teacher selects a pair of words that sounds identical, except for a single sound that typically possess difficulty for the learners, students that are to pronounce and differentiate two words. One example is, okay, let me provide this example to you. And this might sound like a little bit weird, but this is called a minimal pair. We have the word beach as when you go on vacations, right? Beach, they have, it has their phonetical transcription, and we have another word that is called bitch. That is when you address someone that you don't like, and it's a word that it is not intended to be used, right? But the unique thing is that one sound is long for beach, as to go on vacation and to go to the place, right? And the other word contains a short sounds of the letter I. Yeah. Then we have a complete dialogues and grammar games. So in this case, guys, please pay close attention and read these drills that will help you out to understand the audio-lingual method. Let's move on to the next method. Here we have some characteristics of the audio-lingual method to be summed up in the following list. All right, so if you are a teacher and you're presenting new material, this can be provided as in forms of dialogues, right? There is a dependence on memorization, a set of phrases, and overlearning these kind of things, but sometimes don't know in what context we can use this, right? The structures are sequenced by means of constructive analysis and thought of one at a time. Structural patterns are taught using repetitive drills. Vocabulary is strictly limited and learned in the context. There is much use of tapes, language labs, and visuals aids. Here, guys, we provide a very great importance for the pronunciation of the words. Very little use of the mother tongue by the teacher is permitted. So if we're teaching a class using the audio-lingual method, guys, we are not allowed to use our mother tongue, or it's ideally you cannot use that. All right, and then you have until 12, guys, so you can read when you have time. And yeah, there's great information for you. And here we have like to sum up, and it says that this extensive memorization, repetition, and overlearning patterns were the key to the method's success, as the student could often see immediate results, but it was also its weakness. Remember that every method has its pros and cons, and this is not the exception. That it was discovered that language was not acquired through a process of habit information. Like if you're telling me every day I have breakfast, I am going to school. Yeah, it's not like that. It requires more stuff to get the knowledge, and when you have the knowledge to know where to use it in an ideal context. Here we go with the Suggestopedia method. Well, this is like kind of a method. This is a method that it is related to a very humanistic approach, right? It was developed by Georgy Losinov in the late 70s. And the Suggestopedia method is a teaching method developed by this psychotherapist, and it is mostly used to to learn foreign languages. And the theory applied positive suggestion in teaching. However, as this method improved, it has focused more on the suggestive learning, and now it is often called the Suggestopedia. However, guys, you can use Suggestopedia, and let's understand why it is called Suggestopedia. And it is a blend word of suggestion and pedagogy, right? Suggestion and pedagogy. Physical surroundings and atmosphere in classroom are the vital factors to make sure that the students feel comfortable and confident. And various techniques, including art, music, are used by the trained teachers. The lesson of Suggestopedia consisted of three phases at first. We had the deciphering, the conversation, and the elaboration. Okay, in general, the Suggestopedia is basically a method that helps us out to create a good learning environment for the students, but not only for them, but for the teacher as well. Suggestion, remember, that is where in the pedagogy it is applied here, and we're trying to create the perfect surroundings in which we can learn English. Let's say we have a classroom with no more than 15 students or 20, because that's the ideal number in a classroom. That we have, let's say, air conditioning. The smell of the classroom is good. And the most important part here is that if you have a mistake, no one is going to tell you, or no one is going to laugh at you, but the teacher will encourage you to do better. And that's why we create that confidence within our students. So let's see those three phases. The first phase, the teacher introduces the grammar and lexis of the content. This is the deciphering. In most material, the foreign languages text is on the left half of the page with the translation on the right half. Meanings are conveyed via the mother tongue. In here, yes, we can use our mother tongue. And let's say you have your notebook, and in the left part of the page, you have the text in its original language, let's say English. In the other half of the page, but on the right, you have the translation of the text. And in that way, you are acquiring, you can see the translation, and you compare between the two languages. Okay, excuse me about that. The conversation, the active and the passive. And by the way, before I say something else, in the deciphering session of phase, the use of music is allowed, but in that case we use like lively, like music that help us feel good, right? And then when we have the concert session and we have the active and passive, in here we can use Baroque music. The Baroque music in the background, so that help us feel relaxed, help us to be focused on what we're learning. And basically that's it. And at the end, we have the elaboration, that the student finishes what they have learned with dramas, with songs, with games, with dialogues, and so on, right? Okay. And I guess that's it, guys. If you have any question, please feel free to ask in the WhatsApp group. I'm very active in the group, as maybe you don't see much messages from me, right? Because yeah, still I believe you guys have everything clear. But if this is not the case, please let me know, send messages, or if you have any suggestions on what we can do better, please let us know. Thank you so much, and hope you enjoy uh, the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye bye.